That a lot of developers have almost made this conscious decision to be so anti-sales that because they've had some type of poor sales experience.
Meet Matthew Whyatt, a tech founder turned growth strategist who helps developers stop hiding from sales and build scalable marketing systems that turn great products into real businesses.
They've had this exposure to sales. They go, that's not me. I'm a technician. I value myself with my mind is what I'm valued and my output is how I'm valued. Therefore, if I just build a better thing, the world's going to beat a path to my door. You know, if you build it, they will come. That's not the case when it comes to business. So you've actually got to build it, and then you've got to tell the world about it.
What's up, everybody? This is Ryan Van Ornum back with another edition of the Scaling Up Success Podcast. Today, we are brought to you by our partners, Synergist. Synergist is your go-to for scalable operations. If you grow your company faster at a fraction of the cost with Synergist, you know what's up. If not, go make sure that you check them out at synergist.com. On today's show, I have Matthew Whyatt. Matthew, how are you today, sir?
Only excellent. Thank you. How are you, Ryan?
I'm fantastic, man. So dude, you got all kinds of stuff happening, man. So tell us a little bit. Let's just jump into it. Tell us a little bit about Tech Torque Systems and what you've been building over there, man. You got all kinds of cool stuff.
So my background is I started my first tech business when I was 22. That is almost 25 years ago, 26 years ago. So it's 1,000 years ago in technology world. So grew that, exited, took a year off, lived in Bali, thought that was what I was going to do, and then realized that retirement at the age of 30 is not really for me. So the last 10 years I've been consulting to organizations, helping them. I've started and exited a couple of other businesses now. And so we help software and technology businesses sell more to the right people. And so we launched a new product. We launched a new product at the end of last year to help people do better publishing. And we're going to be launching a new product, probably looking at my calendar, about 2 months from now. So lots going on. And also we moved to the US 4 months ago. So
awesome.
I was living on the Gold Coast in Australia. It was nice and warm. And I thought, you know what I need? I need to trudge through the snow to get to the office in the morning.
You gotta love that stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What is that in Australia? We don't even have this thing.
My children, up until 2 years ago when we went to Canada, had never seen snow.
Wow.
Like literally never seen it. The coldest it gets, to put it into American freedom units, it never gets cold 50 degrees where I'm from.
Wow.
50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow. Well, you've built an international business with everything that you got going on, and it's really cool to see the growth. The other thing that I'm fascinated by is what you guys are kind of working in is being able to help those developer type of SaaS platforms, man, because they are really good at being able to build this stuff out, but a lot of times those developers don't have the wherewithal to be able to take it to market and actually sell the products.
Well, the great challenge is that a lot of developers have almost made this conscious decision to be so anti-sales that because they've had some type of poor sales experience, or they've just not had a great time with some, they've tried to buy a car, and car buying here in America is exactly the same as it is in Australia, which is ordinary, really, really ordinary, that whole experience.
Yeah.
So they've had this exposure to sales. They go, that's not me. I'm a technician. I value myself with my mind is what I'm valued, and my output is how I'm valued. Therefore, if I just build a better thing, the world's going to beat a path to my door. And, unless you're building baseball fields and cornfields, if you build it, they will come. That's not the case when it comes to business. So you've actually got to build it, and then you got to tell the world about it. And that's what we help people do, is tell the world about it.
So what was the biggest challenge for your business when you were growing this thing out, man? I know you've built several businesses, so you kind of have that experience behind the scenes of if you build it the first time is always the hardest. And then you can rebuild very quickly because you understand the patterns. But what was some of the struggles that you had?
So my biggest challenge has always been people. And so I'm not a great manager of people. So I was very good at doing my thing, which was the selling and marketing piece and speaking. That was fine. So when we got our business to a reasonable size, we had 70 employees and team members around Australia and New Zealand. And I managed 10 people, which is sales and marketing. The other 60 were managed by my wife, who's much smarter and better at managing people than I ever can be. Because I'd come back with an idea and go into the developers and go, this is what we're going to do. This is a great idea. And of course, all the, they go, oh, well, this is the boss. He's paying the bills, so he must be right. So then I'd redirect I'd redirect the organization. So the thing that I had to continue to remind my teams and every business that I've been involved in is whether you're selling software or logistics or marketing or whatever it is, if you want to scale, and the name of this podcast is Scaling Up, is if you want to scale, you've got to figure out how to systemize and proceduralize the front end of the business, the revenue piece. And so a lot of the conversations I'm having with people is we're a sales and marketing organization, we have software. We're a sales and marketing organization, we do logistics, whatever that thing that you do. But if you front end the thing is we're a sales and marketing, that's when scale occurs. So the biggest challenges for me has been people and also probably trust, and then trusting the wrong people, trusting the wrong partners, because I always come from a position of integrity. And if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. That's not how a lot of people are. I don't say most. A lot of people, maybe not even half, maybe less than half of people, but there's enough significantly a number of people who will BS you.
Yeah.
And then you trust them. And so I'm the sort of person that you go, that's your job, you go do it. And that then sort of circles back to that management piece is I don't want to check up on you every couple of days. And
right,
I just expect you to go, I just want you to go do it because I would, but expecting people to act like I do and just do it has been my biggest failure. And I've had business partners who have done the wrong thing. I've had internal team members who've done the wrong thing. There's been some real challenges there. So I think Reagan, one of your presidents, said, trust but verify. And I've really taken that on board. Trust but verify.
Yeah.
And do that through automated processes. So the verification becomes the measurement becomes the management.
Well, I've always had this in my head from an old mentor of mine that said, if you get 70% out of the people that are working for you, that like of what you feel that you could accomplish in that role, then you have a winner.
Absolutely. And yeah, get 70%, because that frees your 100% up to go do something else or think about something else.
Right.
100%.
Exactly. What are you most proud about on the journey that you've been on, man?
My wife and I, this is going to sound, okay. I started my first business at 22. My wife was 21 at the time. We are still together, still running our businesses after all these years. We've always worked together. So being able to hold it together, and not that it was a chore or a big effort, but just recognizing each person's skills and capabilities. And now that we've got two boys that are late teenagers, and they are reasonably successful. So I think what I'm most proud of is not the finance, because funnily enough, and this is going to sound really weird to the podcast audience, is I made my goal amount of money the year that I turned 29. Nice. It solved none of my problems.
Yeah.
Because none of my problems were about money. My problems were about my self-worth and how I view myself and those types of things. So I was trying to chase that dollar amount or that wealth amount, because I had an Italian sports car and a boat and a house on the water and all these sort of things. None of that solved who I was emotionally or mentally. And so I recognized that over time, it is now I do what I want to do. So what I'm proud of is being able to make choices. So, for example, moved to the States 4 months ago. 10 years before that, moved to Bali and had a year off. Those are the things. So being able to live my life and take my family on that journey with me.
I love that.
Yeah.
One of the things, I mean, you've built companies that have, dozens and dozens, if not up to almost 100 people in them. How do you develop such a strong culture and how do you maintain that?
So I position myself as the lead singer of the band, right? So the person out the front, lead singer, that's where the spotlight goes. But the Rolling Stones wasn't Mick Jagger. That's dating myself now, isn't it? So it is a team sport, is a contact sport. So recognizing that there are skilled individuals that do way better than me at almost everything. So I let them do those jobs. And yes, I've trusted the wrong people, but I don't want to change who I am. But in doing that has allowed me to free my mind to do other things. So really, so I lead with vision, and this is where we're going, charge. Whereas my wife as a leader, she leads through competency, massive competency, and understanding exactly to the minutiae, the smallest granule of the piece of the business, she understands that. So when the customer service person or the finance person or the admin person or the customer service person comes to them and asks them a question, she has the answer because she's living it and she understands that at a real granular level. So the management team that you have in your organization is absolutely key. Because if you try to do everything yourself, you're gonna burn out.
That's phenomenal, man. And that's the thing. It's like the quote that comes to mind is like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others, right? And it's got to be the right others.
Yeah, and they're going to be the right people. And we employed a CEO at one stage because I knew that I needed adult supervision. He was excellent. We employed a CFO. He was excellent, but it was still my business and still my decision. And when we offloaded when we let those people go, we took over those roles internally, and it was still really successful because we'd learned, and also getting the right mentors, getting the right understanding. I move into every day or every conversation was, how can I learn something from this person? I never come from a position of, I don't know. I met with a guy yesterday who was one of the most successful telemarketers I've ever met. And telemarketing 2026 it's crazy to be even good at that thing, right? Because your phone is going to block these. This guy's incredibly successful. So I sat there and listened to him. How do you do this? And what are you doing? How often do you do it? And I learned heaps. It's just really interesting way to go into every conversation is going, how can I learn something from this person?
That's awesome.
Because everybody's good at something that I'm not. Well, most people are.
Yeah, definitely, man. And you can't be good at everything, man. So I love that you have that mindset. So, hey, one of the things that we do on the Scaling Up Success podcast is to do a little rapid fire, get to know the founder a little bit more. Are you up for that?
Let's go.
Awesome, man. Hey, what book are you reading right now?
So I just finished reading $100 Million Models by Alex Hormozi.
Yeah, very cool. I love it. Very cool. What was your first job?
First job working at McDonald's. So in Australia, we shorten everything. McDonald's, but my first sales job was selling vacuum cleaners door to door. I was 17.
Give me, this is off the cuff. Give me five examples of words that Australians shorten up or change or have nicknames for that are different than the United States.
Oh, well, you go get your petrol at the Servo, to the service station. You, of course, all of your friends have got an O at the end of their name. So Steve, Steve-O, Dave, Dave-O. And of course, and then of course we have colloquialisms like this person's a bit of a galah. So a galah is a type of bird, but they're also a bit of a joker. So it is, and it's also hard for me to think of them because they're just part of my vernacular, part of my everyday. Right. So, you might, and also if you're going for tradies, so that's tradespeople, we shorten it to tradie, and when the truck comes around that has got the food on it to the job site, that's a Smoko van.
Smoko van, I love
Smoko. So, because of course, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, the tradies would take a break for a cigarette, right? So they go Smoko. So now, literally the vans will have Smoko van or Smoko written on it.
That's awesome, man. Very cool.
And they'll sell pies and Coke, Coca-Cola. Let's be clear what they're selling. That's right.
I love it.
They might sell the other, but I have no evidence on that.
We cannot confirm nor deny.
No, they confirm nor deny. But tradies in Australia are the new rich class of people. So maybe.
Exactly. Hey, are you an early bird or a night owl?
I trained myself to be an early bird because I was working for a software company in Brisbane and they were in the mining sector. So I had to get up at 4 a.m. to be at my desk at 5:30 in the morning. It was an hour commute to drive there. So I trained myself to be early. Although being a nightclub DJ in my early 20s, I very, very happy to see the sunrise.
I love it. Very cool. Hey, if you could have one superpower like the X-Men or the Avengers, what type of superpower would you want?
Goodness. Probably flying.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
How about if you were able to have a Foster's with a historical figure, either living or deceased, who'd you want to have that beer with?
That's hilarious. First of all, nobody in Australia drinks Foster's, but I appreciate the reference. That is an exported beer. Nobody in Australia drinks Foster's. You got to try. No, I appreciate the call out, but I think Canadians have a Moosehead or something like that they export to the world because they wouldn't drink it internally.
Yeah,
what was that?
The Black Blue. That's another one for Canadian.
Got it. Beer, yeah. Nobody drinks it. Who would I? You know what? This is going to sound a bit sappy, but I'd like to have another beer with my dad.
Oh, nice.
He passed away when I was 22. And so, yeah, that'd be cool. He was a good guy. He was the director of sales for a large organization in Australia, and we had a really strong relationship because when I started this business, or started my businesses, we started talking about business stuff, and I didn't get many of those conversations.
Wow. Awesome, man. That was I hope you get that conversation someday, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Even if it's in a dream, that'd be cool, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a bucket list travel spot you still want to travel to with all the traveling you've done?
Here's my travel and adventure bucket list.
That's awesome, man.
I made a note. And I've got written here, life is either a daring adventure or nothing. And so the other quote that I've got written in the front here is, if we were meant to stay in one place, we'd have roots instead of feet.
That is cool.
So lots. So I'm going to spend a couple of years in America. We're going to see the boys into college. Then my wife and I are probably going to go move to Italy, live there for a couple of years. I've got pages of it. I will not stop traveling.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So, and just all the cool normal stuff, the pyramids, walk the Great Wall of China, Mongolia. So I like adventure. So one of the, it's called the travel and adventure list. So one of the things I did before COVID in 2019 is I drove with a friend of mine. There's a company that does these things, and they give you a rickshaw, like a 3-wheel, 10 horsepower, cake tin with a lawnmower engine. And we drove over the Himalayan mountains in this thing. We didn't organize any food, water, accommodation. And it's 1,000 miles between very, very far north of India over the Himalayan. We drove over the highest motorable pass in the world, which is the same height as Everest Base Camp. We drove this thing. We had no preparation. We're about 25% depleted in oxygen. I'm at the highest point there. I'm going, I think I might die. So I literally, so we finished that. We got over the mountain. We were at 4,500 meters. So I can't put that in feet. I can't do that maths quickly enough, but very, very, we drove over 7,500 feet.
Yeah.
So we were down at about 15,000 feet, I think it is. And we were there, and I was sitting in this sort of constructed hut. The sort of Himalayan ladies that were feeding us dinner, bloodshot eyes, couldn't taste any food, couldn't really breathe very well. I just knew I had to get calories in. So I was eating these chocolate bars and drinking Mountain Dew and just trying to get calories in. And I knew that genuinely thought I was going to die.
Oh my gosh.
So we were driving this rickshaw through the snow. We had to carry it at one stage, couldn't breathe because and all of this sort of stuff. There's a point in which I took this photo. We're at the stop of the Rotang Pass. We stopped there for about 4 hours. And of course, remember, I'm not in an enclosed vehicle. All these other vehicles and trucks and 4-wheel drives, they're all up behind. I'm in an open-sided, 3-wheeled rickshaw. You drive with like handlebars like this. And we're stopped for 3.5 hours because a truck had driven up and then tipped over in the crappy road. And each side of the road was about 4 meters of ice each side.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm there gripping my fingers, gripping my toes alternatively to try to continue to keep blood pumping and my mind occupied by something. I thought I was going to die there too. So the next adventure that I really want to do, which is it's by a company called From the Adventurists. So it's a UK company of crazy people who do these crazy things like this. The rules of the game is you get a car that you can purchase in the UK for less than £1,000. It has less than 1,000 cc engine capacity. So first of all, it's underpowered. It's a piece of crap. And you drive it from the Czech Republic to Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia.
Oh my God.
A quarter of the Earth's circumference. So at the moment, they're not running it at the moment because if you go north, you go through Ukraine, not great at the moment, or you go south and you go through Iran, also suboptimal. So they're not running it at the moment, but the idea is, once again, you've got to throw sand and grit into the engine of your adventure because, I can fly from here to Rome, stay in a 4 Seasons. It's all the same. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Now, the 4 Seasons in Sydney or in Rome or in New York, it's all the same. But if you have to negotiate with the locals for dinner, which I had to do in India with no English, that's the fun bit.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That is the coolest story. Man, thank you for sharing that. Well, you absolutely demolished the rapid fire questions, man. Good job on that.
My pleasure. Thank you for joining my TED Talk. They weren't that rapid answers, were they?
I know, right? That was awesome, though. Very cool. Hey, just as we start to wrap this thing up, man, if you could go back to that 22-year-old version of yourself, what's one piece of advice you'd give yourself, man?
Other than buying Bitcoin, the advice, it'd probably be more of an assurance that it's all going to be okay,
Yeah.
because it is. And so I lived with a significant amount of anxiety about whether it's going to work out and how it's going to work out. It is a founder's journey, and the pressure on a 22-year-old to run and start a company where everybody else is older than you is pretty high. I worked my face off, which is exactly what you're supposed to do if you're trying to win. It wouldn't necessarily be advice; it'd just be an assurance. It's all going to be okay, but you're still going to work your face off.
I love it. Very cool. Hey, if people are interested in your services, how can they get a hold of you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Matthew Whyatt on LinkedIn, and also my website, techtalk.co. So talk, TORQUE, as in like engine torque or a torque wrench. So techtalk.co, you can find me there.
Awesome, man. Well, Matthew, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast today. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure, Ryan. Thanks very much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much to our guest, Matthew Whyatt, today. And thank you to our sponsors, Synergist, for sponsoring today's show. Until the next time, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and check out all of our videos on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Until the next time, everyone, stay blessed. Take care.